Okay, so you and I both saw Get Out.
Yeah.
And by the way, earlier we were talking amongst ourselves before the podcast about some trailers we liked, and that was the first time I'd seen the trailer for, what is it, the Belkin Experiment?
Yeah, the Belko Experiment. James
Belko
Gunn's
Experiment?
upcoming film.
I am totally going to see that
Yeah,
shit.
we are. Oh, we are going to watch
That
the
looks
shit
awesome.
out of that movie.
But anyway, let's talk about Get Out. Directorial debut from Jordan Peele of Key and Peele fame and Mad TV, amongst other things.
Yeah. I mean, traditionally, very much a comedy writer and actor.
And some of the actors in this movie are
Yeah.
traditionally comic actors, which is really surprising when you watch the movie.
Yeah.
Now, it stars the dude who was in the Black Mirror episode.
Right.
What is it,
I
15
was-
million credits? Is that the name of the episode?
Yeah.
It's the
it
one
was
where
something
he's
like
riding
that.
the exercise bike.
Yeah, and the girl that he likes goes on the like the singing program reality show and like fails and has to do porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he starts making like rants about the system, and they give him his own show.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool show. But this movie it's going to be really hard, I think, for us as white men to kind of talk about this without sounding culturally insensitive, I guess.
I mean, potentially, but I feel like approaching any kind of a situation with an open mind allows you to at least talk about things. And there are some legitimate issues that I feel like the black culture at large has, like, legitimate concerns. Being around too many white people is terrifying for me, and I am a white person.
You know, I can see the flip side of that. I have in my past, you know, we talked earlier about me working in the bar business. Well, we would go work other shows, and we worked some stuff in St. Louis, in East St. Louis, and stayed in hotels there, and, you know, getting up in the morning and walking to the gas station across the street over by Pops, and you know, being the only white person in a crowded convenience store is a little terrifying. Just because you know that you stick out like a sore thumb. Just like the guy at the beginning of Get Out when he's walking through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, I know I stick out like a sore thumb. And I think that's natural. I don't think I'm, you know, prejudiced in any way
Right.
by having that feeling. I think it's just a natural feeling when you're out of your element.
Mhm.
And everything was fine. I went in there, I bought a cup of coffee and some snacks or whatever, and went back to my hotel room, and everything, you know, was fine.
Yeah.
But that area does have some notoriety, I guess, for violence.
I see. No, I think I understand what you're saying.
Right. But basically, you know, if the trailers definitely tell a lot of the story as it is, but really this is the first,
and that's kind of the thing. Like, we can't really talk about like the end of the movie at all unless we get into spoilers. But until then, consider this spoiler free. At least until we get to that point.
Right. But, you know, it's one of those movies, like, I haven't seen a horror or a thriller. I'd say it's definitely more of a thriller.
Certainly
in the
a
movie theater,
psychological horror.
Yeah, I haven't gone to see one in the movie theater in a long time. And when you texted me last night, said you were going to go see it, I didn't even know what movie you were talking about.
Right.
I recall only seeing that trailer one time, and I didn't even remember it until I watched it this morning when I got the message. You'd sent it to me last night. I woke up this morning, I saw the message, and looked up the trailer. It's like, oh, that does look interesting. Oh, that is Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. So, you know, I saw Keanu, I've seen Key and Peele, and I really like those.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, this does look like something that could be really interesting. And so my girlfriend and I went to see it like at 11 o'clock this afternoon.
Right.
So, you know, it was us and like maybe 6 other people in the whole theater. It was great. I loved it. But yeah, it's very different, very surprising to me because there's a lot of humor in this movie.
I mean, yeah.
Especially with the character of, what is his name? Rod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The TSA agent.
Yeah.
Who's his buddy.
And you know that's that Key and Peele stuff coming. But apparently, I read an AMA with Jordan Peele, and he said, you know, I've always loved horror movies, and that this one is, I guess, influenced by movies like The Stepford Wives and stuff like that. And he compares...
I mean, it's like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, except it takes a real dark turn.
Right. But it's definitely... He compares doing horror to doing comedy, because you have this absurd premise that you have to keep grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's true in both genres. For this to be his directorial debut, I'm honestly surprised that it was not a comedy first and a horror movie second. And there is some satirical stuff in this movie. There's definitely some funny scenes, but make no mistake about it.
This is absolutely a psychological horror thriller.
Right. I liked a lot of the performances in this. It seems like I'm sure that Jordan Peele, having found success in the comedy realm and casting actors and actresses that have kind of gotten a lot of their chops through comedy. The guy that played the dad,
Bradley Whitford.
Yeah, he was in Billy Madison.
Yeah, Billy Madison. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. The West Wing.
Yeah, I didn't watch those.
Yeah,
Billy Madison is
Studio
what I
60
recognize
is
him the
great.
most.
Yeah, but obviously Billy Madison.
But I've seen him in a ton of stuff. But the girl too, the mom.
Yeah, Catherine Keener.
Catherine Keener. She was in one of my favorite comedies of all time, and that's Hamlet 2. Have you seen Hamlet 2?
I haven't seen Hamlet 2.
Oh my god, dude!
I wanted to because I love the guy that plays the main character.
Yes, dude. Hamlet 2 will make you cry, will weep tears of joy when you watch that movie.
She was also the love interest in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
You're right, and she's been in some other stuff. So I was glad to see her. Apparently, the lady who played, what's her name, Rose?
Yeah, Allison Williams.
Apparently, she's a comedian.
Yeah, well, she's on Girls on HBO. She's one of the main characters on that show. She plays Marnie.
Well, I kind of glanced at her Wikipedia profile, and it said comedian was one of the first job titles it gave her. So.
She is Brian Williams' daughter.
Of Beach Boys?
No, Brian Williams.
Oh, that's Brian Wilson.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Brian Williams, the NBC anchor.
Okay. And of course you have Stephen Root.
Yep.
Who's been in a lot of stuff. King of the Hill, a lot of the Mike Judge, like Office Space, and News Radio, and just, tons of stuff. So it's surprising to see like a horror thriller with a cast that can definitely do comedy. Normally, when you get these newer horror thriller movies in the theater, they're directed by unknowns, okay? And they usually have a cast of people that you've never heard of before.
Yeah.
It's not the case for Get Out. So that right there was really interesting. I thought the music was also very...
from beginning
compelling,
to end. Yeah. The music and the cinematography of this movie... Like I didn't picture a directorial debut from a relatively new. I mean, yeah, he probably directed a lot of like Key and Peele's sketches and the show itself. And
had he not had the show, this movie may have never been made.
Almost definitely not. I was watching an interview that Max Landis did with the Red Letter Media guys, and they were talking about intellectual properties and new stuff just kind of being almost impossible to get put out, a new idea.
But maybe that's why he started with horror, because apparently, if you kind of look at the track record of a lot of horror movies that come out, that's where a lot of these famous directors that are famous now kind of cut their teeth, because it seems like horror movies tend to almost always turn a profit, can be made for very cheap, and they don't have to be this like cinematic masterpiece.
Right.
I mean, look at Peter Jackson. He started out doing movies like Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, Dead Alive. You've got James Wan, who started with the Saw movies, and then what did he just direct? Like Fast and Furious 7?
Probably.
Or whatever.
Which made all the money.
Yeah, you've got people like James Gunn, whose one of his first movies that he directed was Slither.
Yeah.
He worked on a lot of trauma movies before that. And now he's doing like
Guardians
of the Galaxy
1 and
shit.
2.
Right.
And this new Belko experiment thing.
Yeah, so
but like
you
even
can
James Cameron. James Cameron started with Piranha 2.
Yeah, and
was
then
his
he
first
did,
movie.
Well, no, I was going to say he did The Thing. That was James Carpenter.
John
James
Carpenter?
Yeah, John Carpenter. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a JC name.
Yeah.
Sue me. It's been a long day. But so yeah, that to me was really cool that he did a horror movie. And I got to tell you, we're going to be talking about Kevin Smith
a little bit
later. And he started with comedy movies and then did movies like Red State and Tusk.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Peele's horror movie was better.
Oh yeah,
and
without question.
It definitely, even though there were some funny scenes in this movie, he definitely treated it like an honest to God thriller. I almost don't want to say horror movie because there's nothing like supernatural about it.
No, there's real. I mean, the hypnosis thing is. I mean, because I don't personally believe that hypnosis is a thing, but
Dude, I talk about working in a bar again. We had a hypnotist come and do a show.
Yeah.
And people I saw and I knew that were regulars went up on stage, and watched them get hypnotized
Mm.
and do things on stage I would have never expected them to do.
I still think it's like it's a psychosomatic thing. Like, I'm up here in front of all these people. If I don't do this, then this guy's gonna look awful. So I guess I'll do it to make him look
I don't know. We'll have
less
to.
awful.
We'll look into that
maybe.
because I'm kind of against. I kind of disagree with you there,
All right.
and I think there's definitely some credence to hypnotism.
All right.
Have you ever like zoned out before?
Yeah, I do that shit all the time.
Right, and don't you think there's
But
could be
nobody's
certain
going to be
things-
able to make me do something. If somebody talks to me, then I'm going to snap out of it.
We'll see, man. I don't know.
Okay,
we'll research
here's
it.
what we'll do. We'll hire a hypnotist to come here and talk to me and see if they can hypnotize me or something.
All right, so without going too further into it, because we actually are getting it up there in time, what were some things that you didn't like about the movie? Because I have a complaint.
Well, you go first then.
I think it was a little anticlimactic towards like the third act. I think a lot of the tension got resolved really quickly, if you know what I'm saying. And some people were taken out just very whatever, kind of like that's it. There's not going to be like some big struggle, and there was to a certain extent, but not to the level that I would expect in a horror thriller movie. I would have expected a little bit more.
I mean, and that's
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I
Without
do.
spoiling anything, you know what I'm
Right.
talking about.
But since you hesitate to even call it a horror movie, I feel like it's appropriate because these are still just normal human beings.
Right?
It's not terribly difficult to kill a human being.
So that's really my only complaint about it was
Yeah.
that. And it kind of left the ending a little ambiguous,
Mm.
even though, and we were talking about this on the way back from the movie, my girlfriend and I. Okay, so if the cops do come to the house afterwards, they'll find the one guy that has the gun on him, and we'll possibly tie it to him, and it might be all right for the main character. But other than that, what's your cons on that?
Without getting into the spoilers, there are a lot of questions that would remain unanswered with this movie, the way that it ends.
Yeah. How many people you see, there's a scene where he finds all these pictures
Mm-hmm.
of all these people that are in the same situation that he is in right then and there. What happens to all of them? Where are they? And, we kind of figure out exactly what's going on and why these people are acting the way they are is because in reality, they're not all there and there's a different influence there from other people.
Do we want to talk spoilers?
I mean,
for
if
this
we
at all?
can go spoiler heavy from here on out.
Okay,
if you want.
let's do. We'll go ahead
Yeah.
and call it right here. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. Get out.
Get
if you
out.
don't like it.
Get out. Ha. No. Okay, so the switching brains
Yeah.
into their bodies.
The guy's a
Like,
neurosurgeon and the mom's a hypnotist.
That's not where I saw this going. Like, I was legitimately thinking that Rod was actually right with his
the sex slave thing?
Yeah, the sex slave thing. Like, she's hypnotizing them and
That was
they're
a red herring.
Yeah, it was. It was very much a red herring, and I really liked that.
Yeah, the switching the brains things makes more sense, like especially as I was like driving home, because I was like, wait a second, the male groundskeeper, that's the grandpa from the video.
Mm-hmm.
When he said, it's from my own flesh and blood, was it coagula?
Yeah.
Or whatever that they call
Yeah.
it. So basically, older people are finding these young, healthy black men and women and having their brains transplanted in there. The hypnotism is just kind of like the pre-op, the pre, that's the buttering them up, softening them up.
Well, and
for
they
that.
call them they in the video called it sedative. Yeah, the sedative.
And they go into the sunken place, but he says there is a sliver of them there.
Yeah.
Now I kind of called it before I even saw the movie based on the trailer. I was like, there is no way. Before I even saw the movie, I said there was no way that dude's girlfriend can't be in on it.
Yeah.
I called that from the beginning.
I was just hoping I was hoping against hope that she wasn't in on it.
I did think there was a chance that possibly the mother
Was hypnotizing
her.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, why would they do that to their own child? And
Yeah.
it turns out that they didn't.
Nope.
And she was totally in on it.
Dude, and she was the creepiest one. Like, once they, like, actually, like, came out and legit were
Like, we're
being themselves.
white slavers.
Like, her shift from being, like, searching in her purse and scared, and then just straight.
Yeah. You know I can't give them to you. The keys.
And then, like, at the very end when she's eating the Fruit Loops, and she's just sitting there, like, listening to music and Googling NCAA prospects or something.
It's crazy. And, but yeah, so what I was talking about earlier as far as the cons, everyone gets killed way too quickly.
Yeah.
And very anticlimactically, you know.
I thought that the way that Stephen Root died was good because he was already there. He was already having his brain opened up.
I mean, he just left on the table.
Yeah,
right?
So he's dead. Like, he's definitely dead.
But
Bradley Whitford, I thought, was great.
He just gets stabbed.
With a goddamn...
But there was no, like, I expected there to be, like, a chase or something, a struggle. It was just, boom, he's dead. And then the mom dies pretty quickly, too.
I didn't think that one was... like, I wasn't sure she was dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. She got, like, stabbed in the neck.
Is that what? Because
it went by so fast. There was
Yeah.
more of a struggle between him and the mom than there was between him and the dad.
Well, yeah, and then him and the fucking weird kid.
Oh, God. The brother.
I legit thought for a hot second
fuck.
that was Macaulay Culkin.
That would be funny.
I did. I thought for a hot second that was Macaulay Culkin. Then I got a better look at him and I was like, no, it's not. But that would have been a great casting choice right there.
Well, we're already halfway through this podcast, brother.
All right.
But, you know, overall, would you recommend the movie?
Absolutely.
Of course, you recommend it to me. I would too. Don't know if I'd necessarily say go watch it in theaters.
I don't think seeing it in the theaters is super necessary, but if you get a chance, definitely watch it.
It was interesting, and I got to see a lot of cool trailers for movies that I definitely want to see, and some that I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a Sunday morning movie outing, yeah, it was a good time. I may watch it again when it comes out on video, maybe to look and see if there's some things that he's hidden in there from the beginning.
I mean, speaking of which, like, there are some great tiny details in that movie. I had a question. My girlfriend and I were driving after the movie was over, and it just occurred to me, how did he get the cotton in his ear?
That too, yeah. I had that same question.
But then she thought about it for a second. She's like, well, he just bended down and put it in because they set that up early enough. Him, because he had reached down and tried to gnaw the strap off.
Right.
And I was like, not only that, but the strap already had bite marks on it from somebody else trying to do that.
Okay.
Like, there are so many tiny details.
All they would have had to have done is just restrained like a strap around his shoulders onto the chair, and they would have been able to succeed.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't even think about that.
There are just so many tiny details in this movie, and that's what makes it great. Jordan Peele did a fucking fantastic job with this movie.
Yeah. Do you think that there should be any kind of outrage whatsoever amongst maybe conservatives or, anything about this movie at all? Because I know there was a little bit saying that, it's a white people are evil movie. Do you think it deserves any kind of outrage at all? Yes or no?
Those white people were evil. Not all white people are evil.
Right.
So, no.
I don't think it does either. You've got gangster movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Some people are terrible. Yeah. Not all people are terrible.
Right.
That's kind of a global moral, I think.
I just wonder, they never really answer the question as to why it singled out black people.
Yeah.
Because initially they kind of lead you to believe that it's a slavery thing when it's really not. Maybe it's because they're in better health or something.
And because, like, he actually even asks, Chris asks, isn't it Bradley Whitford's character?
Yeah. Why black people?
Yeah, why black people? And he kind of waves it off and gives kind of like generic answers to it, and you have like flashbacks to all of those white people that were
and what they're wanting, like ask them about basketball, like what sports are you into, and that kind of thing. Huh. I guess.
And then like there's like, and some people just want to be hip and fashionable, and then it cuts to that one fucking guy.
Mhm.
He's like, black is in now.
Black is the fashion.
That was cut in, I was like, oh my god.
I wonder how often black people have to deal with, because some of those scenes were so uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
Like the dad was like, I would have voted for Barack Obama a third time, and
Yeah.
saying, my man, and how long has this thing been going on, and it seemed like every white person that he interacted with had to bring up that he was black,
Yeah.
instead of just he's a person,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of Stephen Root's character because of the whole photography thing and him
Right.
being an art dealer. So that was interesting. Anyway, it's time to move on. If you saw Get Out, let us know what you thought about it in the comments below.